Right, let's go over now to talk about this extraordinary story that Britain has quietly brought home a series of ISIS brides, as in the Shamima Begums of this world, who ran away from this country treacherously to hook up with the death cult, ISIS death cult, you know, to take part in the terrorism, and we've quietly just let them back. These people are a risk to this country, as is Shamima Begum. Let's talk to former senior military intelligence officer Philip Ingram. Welcome, Philip. Now, you and I have talked many times about Shamima Begum and the serious security threat she poses to this country. She remains over in Syria, but that detention camp that they're all in has now become leaky as a sieve amid Syria's uncertain political position. And so she might well escape, as far as we know. God knows what's going to happen there. But what we're learning today, courtesy of the Times, is that Britain has quietly repatriated Islamic State women and children who were held alongside Shamima Begum. 6 women in camps held by the Syrian Democratic Forces, those are Western-backed, of course, have been sent back to Britain without fanfare, along with their 9 children. This is a security threat, isn't it? What on earth is the government playing at? Allowing terrorists, people who betrayed this country, traitors to this country, who went out to hitch their wagon to that death cult ISIS, just allowing them back in, no questions asked. What I thought the government's primary role was to keep the people of this country safe. That's not keeping us safe, is it?
It's not keeping us safe. You know, the advantage of Shamima Begum is there was a legal ability to remove her British passport and remove her British citizenship. So you know, she's got no right to come back to the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, there are some of these ISIS brides that there is no legal way of removing their British citizenship, and therefore, you know, like ISIS brides and members from other European countries, they are being sent back or being taken back quietly, but they remain a threat, and therefore it is costing us millions in taxpayers' money to monitor them and to monitor the threat, whilst they're probably sitting there on benefits with their children on benefits. So their neighbours, you and I, are paying for the privilege of these threats to our society having to be properly monitored too, so that we can stay on top of it.
Yeah, and OK, if we take these people up, I take your point. Unlike Shamima Begum, these women have not had their citizenship stripped of them, so we have an obligation to them. But they should be arrested when they get back. They should be prosecuted, shouldn't they? Instead, and by the way, Philip, we also know that it's probable that hundreds of Brits who went out to fight with ISIS, we're talking about mainly guys, of course, have also slipped quietly back into the country. ISIS has been allowed into Britain, no prosecutions. What is going on?
Well, and we're getting a huge percentage of former ISIS and other terror group members coming across in their boats across the channel, and we know nothing about them. We don't have, you know, any details. It's shocking. It really is frightening. The difficulty with prosecuting them is they've committed their crimes in Syria and in Iraq, and it would ordinarily be up to the Syrian authorities or the Iraqi authorities to prosecute them for the crimes there. There is no evidence that has been collected by any internationally recognized law enforcement organization that would pass the threshold for the Criminal Prosecution Service in the UK to bring criminal charges against an individual, because it hasn't been collected in line with PACE or with any other piece of legislation, and therefore would be shot down immediately by these lefto lawyers and barristers in court, and the individuals would walk away and we'd be left there with a huge court bill. So that's the problem with this. There is no evidence that will meet that bar of criminality in the UK under the way the law was framed when these people left, and that's the problem we have.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, the fact if we're letting in ISIS brides, and we know that a lot of the actual warriors have come back in as well quietly, that means we're just not a serious country if we're going to allow that to happen.
Well, there's a difference between allowing it to happen and then monitoring and mitigating the risk. Our security services are on top of this. Our counter-terror police are on top of this, and the new National Police Service that's bringing all the counter-terror police and the serious and organised crime police and everything else together will provide a better coordinated service to be able to monitor this along with our intelligence services. So they're on top of it. But it's putting an extra strain on the resources when it's not needed.
Philip, really good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on. That's Philip Ingram there, friend of the show, former senior military intelligence officer.